Hello, fellow Whovians. Hope you're having a good week so far. Well, today we're going to be continuing a look at the 4th Doctor era with the Masque of Mandragora. And that's Masque spelled M-I-S-Q-U-E instead of M-A-S-K. So, anyway, here we go. The 4th Doctor shows Sarah some of the TARDIS interior, and they come across the secondary console room. Activating the view screen, the Doctor sees a swirl of living energy in the time vortex, the Mandragora helix, which starts to draw them in. The intelligence with the helix physically attacks them as the Doctor tries to pilot the TARDIS through it. The ship ends up inside the helix, and the Doctor and Sarah duck behind the TARDIS as a fragment of glowing helix energy flies by. They escape in the TARDIS, not knowing that the fragment has entered with them. Dun dun dun! In 15th century San Martino in Italy, a peasant revolt is violently put down by Count Federico and his men, led by Captain Rossini. In a palace, Federico's brother, the Duke of San Martino, lies dying, attended to by his son Giuliano and Giuliano's companion Marco. The Duke's death had been foretold by Hieronymus, the court astrologer, but Giuliano, a man of science, does not believe in such superstition. In fact, Hieronymus is working for Federico, and the horoscope's prediction of Duke's death was helped along by poison. Hieronymus tells the Count that he feels his powers are growing, but all Federico wants is for the astrologer to tell Giuliano's death next, and he will take care of the rest. Okay. The TARDIS materializes in a field near San Martino, and when the Doctor and Sarah exit, the energy fragment flies out of the TARDIS, unseen. Sarah wanders off and is kidnapped by a group of men in hooded robes. The Doctor tries to rescue her but is knocked out, and when he awakens, he witnesses the energy fragment fly towards and kill a peasant. Searching for Sarah, the Doctor is confronted by the Count's men and arrested. Here we go again. At the court, the Doctor tries to tell Federico that the energy fragment could spell the end of the world. The Count at first thinks the Doctor is a seer, like Hieronymus, but when the astrologer quizzes the Doctor, it becomes clear that the Doctor does not believe in any of it. Federico orders the Doctor to be executed as a spy. Meanwhile, Sarah is brought before a priest and told that she is the foretold sacrifice to Demnos, the Roman god of moonlight and solstice. Back at the palace courtyard, the Doctor is led to the executioner. Oh no! Before the executioner's sword lands, the Doctor unfurls his scarf and hooks it around the executioner's ankle, throwing him off balance. Whew! The Doctor escapes and finds his way into the catacombs beneath the city. The guards, freeing the Brethren of Demnos, who reside in those passages, stop their pursuit. Inside, Sarah is laid out on an altar. A purple-robed figure is about to stab her when the Doctor snatches Sarah away, just as the fragment appears in the chamber, suffusing it with a red glow and providing a distraction for the two to escape. Whew! Giuliano examines the body of a guard that was killed earlier by the fragment, and while he does not know the cause of the guard's death, he dismisses ideas that it was some kind of fire demon. The Doctor and Sarah are found by palace guards. In the temple, the helix manifests itself as a pillar of red light and tells the purple-robed figure that he will be given undreamed-of powers to carry out its will on Earth and become the planet's supreme ruler. As the helix vanishes, after the helix vanishes, the figure removes his mask, revealing the face of Hieronymus. Dun dun dun! The guards bring the Doctor and Sarah to Giuliano, who shows him the dead guard's body and tells the Doctor of fears that if Federico rules San Martino, all knowledge and learning will be suppressed. The horror! Elsewhere, Federico discovers that Giuliano has invited several nobles to San Martino to celebrate his succession to the dukedom. Angered, Federico demands Hieronymus make up a new horoscope and poison Giuliano before the next evening. Okay then. The Doctor deduces that the helix chose San Martino because the Brethren provided a ready-made power base. The 15th century was the transition between the Dark Ages and the dawn of the Renaissance. The helix could gain control of the Earth through a new religion. The Doctor tells Giuliano the temple must be destroyed. They go to the temple, and the Doctor enters the catacombs alone, but as he enters the main chamber, the helix attacks him physically. Rossini informs Federico of Giuliano's trip to the temple, and the Count decides to take his guards to the temple to kill his pagan nephew. The guards corner Giuliano with their swords. Sarah runs into the catacombs calling for the doctor, but is caught by the brethren. Not again. The Helix attack stops, but the doctor is prevented from venturing further into the temple. He leaves to find Giuliano fighting the guards and joins in. Giuliano is wounded, and suddenly the brethren emerge from the forest and force the guards to retreat. The doctor and Giuliano go into the catacombs. Sarah is brought back to the astrologer's chambers, where she is left gagged as the priest and Hieronymus talk. The priest is eager to sacrifice Sarah, but Hieronymus decides to use her as bait for the doctor. Hieronymus allowed the brethren to save Giuliano because the young prince may still have value. Sarah is brought back to the astrologer's chambers and is hypnotized to believe the doctor is an evil sorcerer. Oh, not again. Hieronymus gives her a poisoned needle to kill the doctor. At the palace, the invited nobles begin to arrive, and Federico realizes that he does not have much time to eliminate Giuliano, but Rossini is unable to find Giuliano in San Martino. Hieronymus warns Federico that his life is in danger. Federico scoffs, believing Hieronymus to be a fraud, but suspicious enough to tell Rossini to banish Hieronymus from the city. In the catacombs, Giuliano and the doctor find Sarah, who cannot remember anything after her capture by the cult. They make their way into the palace dungeons through a secret passage. The doctor goes to confront Hieronymus, whom he has seduced as leader of the brethren, in his rooms. Sarah secretly follows, trying to carry out her post-hypnotic orders. When the doctor speaks to Hieronymus, Sarah sneaks up behind him with a needle, but the doctor snaps her out of the trance, just as the guards come for Hieronymus. The astrologer escapes, but the guards capture the doctor, Sarah, and Giuliano. In the dungeons, Federico accuses the prisoners of being followers of Demnos. Rossini rushes in, informing the Count that the members of the Brethren are gathering on the streets and moving towards the temple. Yay, I guess? The doctor tries to convince Federico that Hieronymus is the real threat. Federico takes the doctor with him and some guards, leaving the others as hostages. In the temple, Hieronymus summons the Helix, which begins infusing him and his followers with power. Unlimited power! Disguised in hoods, the doctor, Federico, and the guards enter and witness the ceremony. Federico steps forward, calls Hieronymus a traitor, and rips off the golden mask, only to reveal glowing energy in place of a face. Hieronymus raises a finger, and electrical energy stabs out of the Count, reducing him to ashes. Ugh. Hieronymus then fires at and kills the two guards as well, but does not seem to have seen the doctor. The doctor joins the circle around the Helix as Hieronymus announces that Mandragora will swallow the moon the next evening, and then the brethren will strike. The doctor slips away unnoticed. Back in the palace dungeons, Rossini is about to kill the prisoners when the doctor arrives and reveals that Federico is dead. The guards change their allegiance to Giuliano and take Rossini into custody. The doctor observes that the brethren are still a danger. He tells Giuliano to fortify the palace in preparation for their attack. Smart thinking. In the meantime, the brethren are driving people out of the city, isolating the palace. Giuliano wants to cancel the masque that will celebrate his accession, but Marco is confident that they can defend the palace against the brethren. The doctor calculates there will be a lunar eclipse that evening, Mandragora swallowing the moon, and when the Helix takes over, it will remove all sense of purpose from mankind. Ugh. Right now, however, the Helix energy is spread thinly all over the brethren, and it could be exhausted. He asks Giuliano for a breastplate and a length of wire. Wearing the breastplate under his coat, if he has guessed right about the nature of Helix energy, he could drain it off. Nice. Hieronymus knows a secret way into the palace, and he intends to infiltrate his men under the cover of the mask. The doctor makes his way into the temple and grounds the altar with wire. Hieronymus addresses the doctor as Time Lord, and says that Earth has to be possessed. If mankind's ambition is not checked, it will eventually spread to the galaxy, and the powers of Mandragora will not allow a rival within their domain. Hieronymus fires a bolt of energy into the doctor's chest, knocking him back painfully, but the doctor survives. Yay! At the mask, the brethren make their appearance, and the masqueraders run about in panic as they fire into the crowd. Hieronymus then appears and tells the brethren to take the others into the temple for the final sacrifice. The moon goes into eclipse, and the brethren place their hands on the altar as the ball of helix energy descends. However, it consumes the brethren, expanding and then fading away. Hieronymus removes his mask. It was the doctor imitating the cult leader's voice. Good one there, Doctor. Good one. The doctor explains it as a case of energy squared, putting the Mandragora helix back where it came from. The doctor and Sarah make their goodbyes to Giuliano. Just before they leave the TARDIS, Doctor tells Sarah that while Giuliano won't have any more trouble with Mandragora, humanity will. The constellation will be in position at about the end of the 20th century. Oh boy, that doesn't sound good. Anyway, let's look at some production notes about, and also some themes and analysis about this episode. Working titles for the story included The Catacombs of Death and The Curse of Mandragora. The ultimate name references the Masque, entertainment performed by masked players that later plays a key role in the plot. Location shooting for the serial was done at the resort of Port Merion in Wales, better known as the setting for the cult series The Prisoner. Nice. Tim Pigott-Smith previously played Captain Harker in The Claws of Axos. Norman Jones previously played Crisong in The Abominable Snowman, and Major Barker in Doctor Who and the Silurians. Robert James had previously played Lesterson in The Power of the Daleks. Martin Wiggins, senior lecturer and fellow at the Shakespeare Institute at Stratford-upon-Avon, has compared this story's plot with Hamlet, saying, quote, "It has an inexperienced intellectual prince, a usurping duke, and a debate about the conflict between science and religion that recalls Hamlet's musings on the nature of the supernatural world," end quote. So yeah, overall this is a pretty interesting story, and I kind of like it. So overall, I give The Masque of Mandragora 4 sonic screwdrivers out of 5. Well, join me next week as we take a look at The Hand of Fear, which is going to feature the departure of a certain companion that we all know and love. So, until next week, this is Hoovy and Queen saying, "Oh my giddy aunt, when I say run, run, I've a polarity of the neutron flow. Would you like a jelly baby? Fantastic! Allons-y! Geronimo!" Bow ties are cool, fezzes are cool, and Stetsons are cool.